He always called her that rich babe from Baltimore.
Do you recall his exact words concerning his relations with Mrs. Reston?
Yes. He said, "I'm making time with her."
Thank you, Sheriff. I now turn you over to the New York lawyer. Your witness.
Your Honor, during the past week in this court, the prosecution has persisted in referring to me as the New York lawyer. It appears there's another defendant in the case, and the charge is that he is from New York City. To that count, I plead guilty as charged. Now, Sheriff Hoke, based on your experiences, what does the expression "making time" mean?
Well, it means that Larry Bell was having relations with Mrs. Reston.
Had you always found Larry Bell to be truthful?
Yes, I have.
You were like father and son.
We were very close.
Like father and son?
Yes.
Was Larry Bell always in the habit of discussing his personal affairs with you?
Well, like I said, we were very close.
Are you married, Sheriff?
I was divorced a couple of years ago.
That was your only marriage?
No, it was my second.
Oh, how did your first marriage end?
Divorce.
Well, tell me this, Sheriff. Were you in the habit of discussing your personal affairs with Larry Bell?
Objection.
Sustained.
The expression "making time," is that something Larry Bell may have borrowed from you?
No.
Or did you ever use the expression?
Objection.
Sustained.
Larry Bell was a noted athlete, wasn't he?
One of the finest.
Do you know what the expression "to score" means?
Objection.
Sustained.
Can you describe Larry Bell's demeanor when he told you he was making time with the babe from Baltimore?
I don't think I understand the question.
Was he smiling?
Yes, I believe he was.
Was it a cocksure smile or a smirk?
Objection.
Sustained.
Can you describe the smile?
Well, I'd say it was more of a grin.
The kind of grin you associate with a man who succeeds with a woman.
Objection.
Sustained.
Now, Sheriff Hoke, is it a fact that the State University Alumni Association a few years ago voted you the outstanding football player in the history of the school?
Oh, well, yes, that's a fact.
Did you graduate from State University?
Yes, I did.
Is it a fact that Larry Bell was a star halfback for Bolton High School?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me if many colleges offered him athletic scholarships?
Oh, yes, there are a great many.
How many would you say?
At least 50.
And which college did he choose?
State University.
Because you advised him to do so?
Yes.
Because he was your protege and you wanted him to follow in your footsteps?
Yes.
Did Larry Bell graduate, using that expression in the scholastic sense?
Yes, Larry failed in too many courses, and so he was expelled.
For academic failure?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Do you recall the particular courses he failed?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do, yes. It was European history, English literature, and sociology.
Isn't it a fact that Larry Bell was being tutored in those very courses by an instructor who was on the payroll of the State University Athletic Department?
Yes, but that's common practice.
Has State University de-emphasized football?
No, we haven't.
Then a victory on the gridiron is as important today as it was in your time, is it not?
Probably so.
Wasn't Larry Bell a sophomore sensation for State University? By that I mean, wasn't he, more than any other man on the team, responsible for a highly successful football season?
Probably.
Sheriff, did you make any attempt to keep the university authorities from expelling Larry Bell?
Yes, I did.
Did you make a special trip to the campus?
I did.
And yet you failed. Why?
Well, like I told you, Larry failed in 3 subjects. He just couldn't knuckle down to studying.
Do you recall an incident occurring at State University in the same months of that year?
An incident?
Well, perhaps I used the wrong word. I'm referring to a collegiate prank commonly known as panty raid.
Well, that was happening in lots of colleges, all over the country.
But it did happen at State University.
Yes, it did.
On April 12, 1955?
Well, I'd have to take your word for that.
Did Larry Bell ever mention anything about it to you?
No, he didn't.
Knowing Larry Bell, do you think he participated in this so-called prank?
I don't know.
You don't know Larry Bell?
I don't know whether he had anything to do with it.
Is the term panty raid perfectly clear to you?
Certainly. The boys raided some sororities and girl dormitories and made off with some feminine undergarments.
Where were those garments?
Oh, in dresser drawers or on the clotheslines, I guess.
Are you on the mailing list of the State University Tiger, the student newspaper?
I only read the sports pages.
Then you must have missed the following item. The Ivy Line has it from eyewitnesses that one not-so-sophomorish sophomore pilfered his trophy from a very petite and perturbed frosh co-ed.
No, I never read that item.
Do you recall the date Larry Bell was expelled from State University?
April 1955.
April 18?
I believe so.
Is it a fact, Sheriff Hoke, that the final examinations for the spring semester are held during the last week of the month of May?
It is.
Then Larry Bell was expelled at least 5 weeks prior to those examinations, was he not?
Something like that.
Sheriff, isn't it possible that you were innocently misled into believing that Larry Bell was expelled from State University merely because of academic failure? Thank you, Sheriff.
You did it again.
Thank you.
May I ask what the money is for?
Just a small advance on my fee.
You sounded most urgent over the telephone.
Can't tell you any more. It might incriminate me. Good night.
I'll pick you up at the courthouse at 11.
Slight correction. I'll see you in court Monday morning. Off the top.
Two to the dealer.
Opener bets 50.
Beats me.
No.
$50 and $200.
See the 250? Raise it 500.
Too much for me.
You do too. I'll call.
3 deuces full.
Straight's no good.
Too bad. Nice hand. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you arrived at a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
How find you? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Court is adjourned.
Mr.
Billy. Congratulations.
Jim, you did it again, boy.
Thanks, Roland.
Hello, darling.
Hi, baby. How are you?
Look who's here. If I offered the prosecutor a drink, would he object? What are you gentlemen drinking?
We can't stay long.
Thanks anyway.
Oh, I can't say I know how you feel. Hard as I try, I just can't seem to lose a case. What's this?
Subpoena.
Subpoena?
Grand jury? Is this on the level?
It is.
What's the charge?
Bribing a member of the jury, namely Mrs. Carol Morrow.
Ralph, you don't...
Hello, Billy.
Diane, come in. Gee, but I'm sure glad to see you.
Where's Jim?
I don't know. I was in the bedroom calling down for some breakfast, then I came in here and Jim's gone. How about some coffee?
Thank you.
I came in from Vegas last night as soon as I heard about the grand jury indicting Jim.
What's the story, Billy?
Simple, hair-raising. Jim was taken for $5,000 in a poker game out in some desert shack. Then a dame turned up with the money. A dame on the jury, Carol Morrow. And she's saying that Jim gave her the money as a bribe. How are the boys? Is Timmy taller than me yet?
They didn't feel so big yesterday.
Cut yourself?
I admit it. Would you arrest me for attempted suicide? You could tell me in for stealing your Jeep.
No, it's yours anytime you want it.
You know where I've been, don't you?
Staley's shack, I guess.
Should I have found him at home?
There's no telling about Staley.
No poker table, no chips.
Oh? You sure you found the right shack?
My only mistake was going there in the first place. Now, where will I find Staley?
He comes and goes.
And where does he go to?
You know something? I never got around to asking him. A drink?
No, thanks. You won't help me then?
Yeah, I'll do all I can.
What about the other players?
Who were they?
Well, the introductions weren't exactly formal, but you mean to tell me you don't know the crowd that plays poker with Staley?
I'll try to round some of them up as soon as I can.
Sheriff, are you out to get me?
I wish you wouldn't think that.
Well, I hit you pretty hard in the courtroom.
You never raised your voice once.
Is Mrs. Morrow a friend of yours?
Every voter's a friend of mine.
Even if a voter commits perjury?
You know something, Mr. Blaine? I like to believe you, but it's not easy considering the evidence.
Say, where have you been?
Out in the desert looking for mirages.
2-car mirages?
No Staley, no poker table, no chips, no nothing.
A frame house, huh?
It's not too funny. Holt's building a beautiful frame.
And you'll have 10 years to admire it at the state's expense.
You selling me short?
Me sell you short? My memory's not that bad. Every morning when I wake up, I look to make sure there are no bars on the windows. If I were you, I'd go into a little Irish jig right now.
You would, huh?
A very attractive lady just checked in down the hall.
I'll try to find time.
It's Diane.
Diane.
408.
Why didn't you let me know?
I was waiting for your call.
I wasn't thinking. I haven't been thinking straight since they subpoenaed me. How are the kids?
Upset.
Why didn't you bring them?
It's not exactly a holiday.
I didn't bribe Mrs. Morrow.
How did she get the money?
Not from me. I lost the $5,000 in a poker game to some card sharps. And the man who got me into the game collected the money and turned it over to Mrs. Morrow.
Who is this man?
Nick Hoke, sheriff of Bolton County, friend of the late Larry Bell, foe of the Restons, and victim of a cross-examination by the incomparable James Gordon Blaine. Darling, I've hurt you, but I've never lied to you.
I believe you, Jim, and I want to help.
I'll move Billy out of my sway.
No, Jim, no.
I've never stopped loving you, needing you and the boys.
That's why I'm here, for their sake, not mine or yours.
Objection sustained. Thanks for being here.
Well, you tell him he better get in line, or come next November, he'll be running for the Woods instead of for the state senate. Right. Mm-hmm. I'll talk to you later. Hey, what do you think you're doing?
I ain't doing nothing.
Never mind, just put it down.
Mr. Blaine is here.
All right. Look scared. Come right in. Well, Mr. Blaine, you recognize either one of them?
No,
You sure not?
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, boys, I'm sorry. Welcome to Bolton, Mrs. Blaine.
Thank you.
You too, Mr. Giles.
Nice town you got here. The last time I came through, it was so quiet you could hear the pinball machines.
That's pretty funny. Say, I'll keep looking around. One of those poker players ought to turn up.
Thanks.
Lester Rawlings is vacationing in Desert Valley, staying at the Sun Club.
Why the social note?
Merely remembering a maxim about your profession. A lawyer who defends himself has a fool for a client.
That should be good for a laugh somewhere.
Forget it. I'm the exception to the rule.
Let's face it, Jim. You too can be a fool.
I'm defending myself.
Correction. You're also defending Timmy and Johnny. Hello.
Hello. Mr. and Mrs. Reston, my wife Diane, and Billy Giles.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Hi.
Join us for a drink?
Well, thank you, no, we were just going inside.
When did you arrive?
This morning.
Oh. You have a very remarkable husband.
Yeah, very remarkable.
Well, what's your complaint?
I just don't like the mess you made.
The mess I made.
I didn't ask you to bribe Mrs. Morrow. That was your own stupid idea.
If I ever hear you say that again, so help me, I'll kill you.
You mean you didn't give her the money?
No, Mrs. Reston, I didn't. My only mistake was in defending you and your idiot husband. In parting, may I say you deserve each other?
So the piano player said, well, hum a few bars and I'll fake it. That's rather amusing, don't you think? Uh-oh. Business calls. Pardon me, girls.
See you later.
Jim Blaine. I'm Lester Rawlings. We met a few years ago at Toots Shore's restaurant, I believe.
Of course. My wife, Diane, and Billy Giles.
Hello. Would you permit me to buy you all a drink?
Well, thanks,
I
Bob.
could use one, thank you.
Well, good, good. Every time I get a chance to escape from the city, I come down here. It's a great place to relax.
You hear that, Jim? You're supposed to relax. It's a local law.
I hear I took the Reston case away from you.
It was more of a hot potato than a case, wasn't it?
I wish I'd have said that.
What's your opinion?
Opinion of what?
The indictment against me?
Am I to answer that as an acquaintance or as your lawyer?
Why the business pitch? You want to deduct the drinks from your taxes?
We're interested in a legal opinion, Mr. Rawlings.
I'd prefer to hear Jim speak for himself.
Is this your way of getting the Reston fee?
Oh, no, I'm not asking for a cent.
What's in it for you, then? Trying to prove you're a better lawyer than I am?
Well, for your sake, I hope I am.